Kefir is the most powerful probiotic in the world, and I have it every single day. Hi everyone! I'm so excited to be here today for another healthy, delicious, and nourishing recipe. In this video, I'm going to make kefir. If you're new to the Happy Now Olivia community, my name is Olivia, and I'm passionate about being happy and healthy. I believe we're all responsible for our own happiness, and I believe anyone who puts in the work can be happy now. So stay tuned for this healthy recipe video. I absolutely love it. I cannot imagine being without my kefir, and in fact, when I had to deploy with the Air Force, one of the toughest things was not being able to have my kefir every day. So let's get started. We're going to need kefir grains, and I'll explain how to get these later at the end of the video. We're gonna need a quart empty glass jar. Well, this is my measurement. When you are comfortable with making kefir, you may figure out the measurements for a pint or a half gallon, etc. But I use a quart. We want 2 pint containers, because at the end this is how much I'm going to yield. A container kind of like this. It's a Pyrex. I prefer the little lip here because it makes it easier to pour out. We want a strainer, and you don't want a metal strainer, okay? The kefir does not like metal. You want a plastic or silicone kind of type strainer. And a wooden spoon. Like I said, kefir does not like metal. It is actually quite temperamental. So you want a wooden spoon, bamboo spoon, or plastic spoon, etc. And of course, my favorite, you want delicious fresh milk. The highest quality milk you can get, and that means the least pasteurized, okay? The highest quality milk is fresh milk from the farm. Either you get it from the farmer or from a co-op that gets it from the farmer. I just got this yesterday, so I'm really excited about it. It is so delicious. Pasteurized milk is essentially dead. It is devoid of any enzymes and nutrients. It has been heated to the point where it is dead. If you use ultra pasteurized milk, I don't even think it's possible to make kefir with it. If you use one of the other least pasteurized milks, it's possible, and you actually, in fact, by making kefir, you're making that milk better. So you don't necessarily need to use fresh milk if you don't know, if you're not comfortable with raw milk. That's okay. Just get the highest quality of milk you can get, without hormones, without pesticides, etc. So to start, I actually have to reverse engineer the process to show you what kefir grains look like. So kefir is something that you can do every day. I do every day. It is a live culture, okay? It is a live culture. Here is my kefir from yesterday. This is a 24-hour ferment. You can ferment kefir for 48 hours if you want, or longer. But at least 24 hours, you're gonna get the full benefits of the fermented goodness of kefir. First of all, I want to show you what it looks like when it's done, okay? So you're gonna make your kefir, and 24 hours later it's going to look like this, and you're gonna see it when I pour it out, but it's basically a yogurt consistency, okay? You'll get used to the different ways that your kefir looks when it's done. Okay, look at this beautiful cream at the top. So delicious, because I used a deliciously heavy cream. So you want to not waste even a single ounce of this, okay? This right here, put this in the sink, and I'm gonna pour my delicious kefir into the strainer, and kind of go like this. Okay, see that? See how wonderful that is? I get so excited every time I make kefir, and I do this every day, and every day I get excited. Look at how beautifully white this is. Every time I look at it, I just marvel at how just gorgeously white it is. You want to grab your wooden spoon and make sure you get everything out of the quart jar. This is all just delicious. Okay. Now we want to strain it. Now I need to grab a towel. You are gonna need a towel around you, just because it's helpful. So we want to strain it now, and this is what I'm doing. Straining it with the wooden spoon. This is a bamboo spoon. I like it the slotted kind because, as you can see, it just sort of makes it easier for me to strain. You can't manufacture kefir. Okay, kefir is a culture that has been passed down from generations, different strains, of course, but it is over 2,000 years old, and it comes from the Caucasus Mountains in Russia. Thank you so much, Russia, for giving us this. It is so healing and so wonderful. And back then, they used to ferment the cultures in fresh cow milk or goat's milk, and they would put the ferment, you know, the liquid inside a goat skin, and they would hang it by the door, and anyone who came in the door would kick the goat skin filled with milk, and that's how it would ferment. So I think that's actually a really cool story. The birth of kefir. Kefir is something that has helped me tremendously in my health. I notice immediately in my skin and the way I feel when I don't have kefir. It is something that it replenishes your good gut flora. It is so powerful, and it is so, even for people who are allergic to dairy still and who cannot handle dairy, kefir is something they can handle because it is so fermented. It is pretty much pre-digested. Okay, so we're getting here to the fun part. Let me make sure you can see what this looks like. And by the way, you can be rough with the kefir here, okay? Because you're trying to strain it all out and get to the culture, and you're going to start recognizing what that actually looks like. And what it looks like is this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful culture, okay? Kefir is one of the many cultures I have in my kitchen, and it can be really temperamental. You know how they say women are sometimes high maintenance? Well, let me tell you something. Kefir can be pretty high maintenance. These little guys. The quality of the kefir you get varies according to the time of the year, the seasons, the temperature, the air. For example, if you move to a different place, as it gets used to its surroundings, it changes. Thankfully, right now, my kefir is in its perfect kefir making state, making me really proud for this video. So what you want to do next, now you have the culture, you've strained it, you are going to put it in your clean jar. Boom. This goes in the sink to be washed. And look at this. So beautiful. I can already tell this is going to be deliciously creamy. And I'm going to pour it in 2 pint jars. This is what I personally do. When it's just me, for years I've been drinking a quart of kefir every day. Now I drink a pint because I split between 2 people. But when my wife is not around, I actually drink both. In fact, I'm actually thinking of starting to make more so that I can drink more now. A pint is not enough. Okay, you can see it was a little uneven. Somebody's going to get gypped tomorrow getting the one with less. I'm gonna give my wife the one with more. Okay, so you want to cover it, and you can use a plastic lid or a metal lid. It doesn't really matter. You don't want to use a plastic lid if you're traveling. If you're putting this in your lunchbox, you do not want to use this because it will leak. So you want to use a metal one. I don't mind using the plastic ones when it's something that I'm going to have the next day or something like that. So here we have the kefir for tomorrow, and now, or when I say tomorrow, I mean that you could have this right now if you wanted to, room temperature. I personally don't. My routine is I do this usually in the evenings. I strain the kefir, I put it in its jars, and then I put it in the fridge, and it's chilled for the next morning. I love chilled kefir. It is delicious. Kefir is creamy. A lot of people say sometimes you get it to be a little bit bubbly. It's like they call it the milk champagne. It is really good. Not always though, okay? Depends on the cultures too. And if you ferment it too much, like past 24 hours, it might be a little bit strong, and it definitely is probably an acquired taste, okay? But it depends on the strain. So what we're gonna do now with our culture is we're going to pour some delicious fresh milk into it. Once again, I want to make sure I get all the cream in here. Shake it, pour it, and you want to leave about, what, an inch, half an inch at the top here, because you want the culture itself, it's going to ferment, it's going to breathe, it's going to release air. You want it to have space, otherwise it will overflow on the sides. Now we're going to cover it, and it's ready. And now what you want to do is store it in a warm place. Kefir, the ideal temperature for kefir is between 70 and 75 degrees. Some people will use a dehydrator to make sure they get that, but that is not necessary. I never have. In my old apartment, I used the boiler room, and that worked perfectly fine. In this apartment, I use the boiler room / laundry room, and it works perfectly fine once again. If you remember from the beginning of the video, you saw how it looked like it had somewhat of a yogurt consistency, right? If you look here, it's definitely milk in a jar, right? So the reason I'm saying that is because sometimes if you are just starting or something is wrong and it's been 24 hours and it looks like milk in a jar, it is not ready. Okay, you need to leave it another 24 hours and usually it'll get done. And that usually happens after a period of hibernation. So let me get into that. Some of the logistics with kefir, let's say temperature, it will die if it's too hot. If your apartment is like mine and it's a bit of a tropical jungle, sometimes it might get too hot. If you're in the high 80s or something like that, or in the low 80s, consistently, kefir does not like it. You saw that really nice, beautiful bundle of joy of grains, and that was actually enough for a quart, right? Kefir will grow. It will grow as you feed it. So in 2 weeks, that culture that you saw is actually going to grow, and I'm going to have to separate it and put it in another jar like this one. So this is my stored kefir. And I went into a tangent and didn't finish my thought that I wanted to, which now I don't remember. Temperature. Okay, you can kill kefir. I have done it. Don't tell anyone. I'm really sad, but I killed my kefir culture once because it was too hot, and what happens is it dwindles. You saw that beautiful amount of culture I had. Instead of growing, it shrank up until there was nothing left. And that is why you want to have extra kefir always in the fridge. This is my stored kefir, and it's perfectly fine. Anytime you have extra culture, you want to put it in a jar, and then you just cover it with milk, and that's it. And this will last indefinitely in the fridge. I have gone and I've been deployed for 4 months, come back, and my kefir is fine. But this is where the temperamental thing comes into play, okay? You start a kefir after you've been gone even a weekend, okay? And you start it up again, and it will not be happy, okay? It takes it a couple of days, so maybe the first batch might need to be 48 hours for it to be ready, and it might be too fermented to be good for taste, which then you have to throw that out and start again, and it'll just take it a couple of days, okay? It's kind of like if you're a cat person, okay, what happens when you leave and you come back? You know, your cat does not like it, okay? It probably gives you the brush off for a couple of hours, maybe a day or more. I mean, that's how my Siamese was, okay? It's the same with the kefir. That's why I say it's like my pet. And I love it, just like I love my cats, but it can scratch sometimes. So, traveling. You don't have to do kefir every day like I do. It is a commitment, and I do it because I love it, and it is so nourishing and important to me. My mom, for example, is too overwhelmed to do this on a daily basis, so she'll sort of basically do it. She'll do like a half gallon and like strain it every 3 days or something like that, and then she'll portion it. She'll drink it, divide it into 3 days. You can do that. You can do anything you want, really. Having any kefir is better than nothing. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. So when you travel, you simply put it in a little jar, cover it with milk, and put it in the fridge. That's it. You want to make sure you use a metal lid though. Just like I said, this is sealed properly. You don't want to use a plastic lid when you're storing it because then it won't last as long. It's happened to me. I want to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. We talked about temperature. We talked about travel. We talked about temperamental kefir. Other than that, that's it. So here is my culture from yesterday, and I'm dying to have. I am actually really hungry. Normally I have my kefir by 8 or 9 in the morning. It's like 2 p.m. right now. But I was waiting so that I could show you. Okay, look at that. Now, this is a little bit liquidy, and that's fine. I like it when it's thick. Sometimes this will be nice and thick, and that is my favorite state of kefir. And like I said, it all depends on temperature, time of year, etc. Sometimes it will actually be way more liquidy than this, okay? I don't have an example to show you. Actually, I do. You can see the color of the water, of the milk here is almost semi-transparent. That's basically whey that's been separated. If you over ferment your kefir, what's going to happen is it's going to separate. When you have too much grain in here for the amount of milk in the jar, it's going to separate into whey. Because basically it ate everything it needed to eat, the culture, and separated into whey. And that's okay. You can strain that and it'll actually look like this the next morning, but it will taste very fermented and it will be very liquidy. It won't be creamy. Kefir is a life culture, okay? It is in the Caucasus Mountains of Russia. They used to call this a gift from God, and this is a gift from God. It's a gift from God to me because it has helped me tremendously heal my gut. It is such a wonderful food. I have given it to people that I know whose health has improved immediately. I knew a gentleman who was in pain, like couldn't walk around his house, and the next day he did not have pain anymore. I mean, it was fantastic. A friend of mine with a young husband. Anytime he drinks kefir now, he can eat the things that he's allergic, that are allergic to him, right? He hasn't taken the trouble to heal his gut completely, but when he drinks kefir, he is able to eat all the things that he normally is not able to. That's how powerful it is. So, bottoms up, I'm going to have some now. It's so delicious. You get that acquired taste and then you crave it. I have really big teeth and I know this has gotten in my teeth now. And plus I'm hungry. So I'm going to drink this, brush my teeth, and come right back. And with the power of technology, I am back. Some of you may say to me, well, Olivia, it seems like a big chore to do this every day. You know something? When you do something for yourself, something that is helping you thrive in life, it's not a chore anymore. To me, it's a joy. Not only to have the opportunity, the privilege really to have this culture available to me, to have access to milk, to be able to do this. It is simply something that has become part of my daily routine. Our health and the health of our families is the most important thing. So to me, this isn't a chore. It's just simply something that I'm grateful I get to do and I get to enjoy every morning. And when you get good at it, it's quick. It takes me probably 10 minutes to strain and do the whole process. And I do it while I'm doing dinner or where I'm cleaning up dinner. I have my own sort of process where it just sort of gets done in the whole array of, the 100 things I have to do in the kitchen every day. So you'll find your stride. And like I said, you can take my mom's approach. You can do it every 3 days. It doesn't really matter because you can always have it. Boy. I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that. Your kefir culture can always hibernate in the fridge. As long as you have it, as long as you've gone through the process of making it once or for a period of time, you can always store it. And one thing I do want to say is you always want to have that extra kefir in the fridge, okay? Because of times when you may kill it. I don't want you to, to do that. I don't want that to happen to you, okay? It was a very painful time for me when that happened. But thankfully, I had kefir in the fridge, and it's the same culture. It's its own brethren, okay? So I was able to make more. Not only that, but I have been able to give it to other people, and that's how you get it, right? That's right. That's the other thing I wanted to say. How do you get kefir grains? You buy them online. That's the first thing I did. And it's a little bit harder to start the culture going. It just takes a couple of days because it's pretty much half dead when it comes in the mail, and you have to use, you have to make several batches for it to kind of come alive, and there are instructions that you can follow if you buy them online. If you know somebody who's doing it, or you go to a natural food co-op, there's chances somebody's making kefir, and you can get some grains from them. Or you can even buy it from somebody who makes it. That's the case with this culture, actually. I was making kefir with a culture I bought online for 3 years. And I came here, I live in San Antonio, and there is a really, really awesome dairy artisan, fermented products here. And her kefir was to die for. And I thought, oh my God, I need these grains. And lo and behold, 1 week, she offered them for sale. And I was like, yep, I'm getting that right now. So that's what I did, and that's my new culture. So this is actually my old culture that I bought online, and this is the new culture. And of course, now I'm kind of collecting strains. So if I get my hand on a different strain, I will absolutely try it. It's sort of like trying different wines, or I don't know, different coffees, different things people like, where you taste a subtle difference if you are an expert connoisseur. So I like to think of myself as a kefir connoisseur, I guess. Let me know what you think of kefir and what it does for you. It's a bit of a learning curve to get this whole thing started, but hopefully this video will help you. But it will change your life. I have no doubt. I have no doubt about it. Once you start getting into kefir, there's no going back. It is wonderful. It's a wonderful gift from God. So what's my bottom line? Kefir is awesome. It is wonderful. I have it every single day, and as long as I am able to, I will for the rest of my life. If you're new to the Happy Now Olivia community, please subscribe. Why? Because I share with you everything I've learned and I'm still learning about being happy and healthy, and we can learn together. I truly believe that happiness and positivity can spread millions of times more than hate and negativity, and they can change the world, one person at a time. Thanks for watching, and see you next video.